Hi guys, welcome to this new tutorial. In the previous one we installed Anaconda, TensorFlow and our ChatBot virtual environment, and in this new tutorial we're going to get our dataset, which is the only thing missing right now. We already created our chatbot.py file in which we will implement the whole model, that is the whole chatbot, but to do this we need a dataset to train this chatbot, and this is what we'll get in this tutorial. So this dataset is called the Cornell Movie Corpus dataset, and it's basically a dataset containing thousands of conversations from 600 plus movies between many characters. So let's have a look at this dataset. Let's enter here in Google Cornell Movie Dialogue Corpus. That's the one. Just press enter and just take the first link. So you just need to enter Cornell Movie Dialogue Corpus. Then take the first link. And there we go, that's the dataset. So let's have a look. As the description says, this corpus contains a large metadata, rich collection of fictional conversations extracted from raw movie scripts. So in total, 220,579 conversational exchanges between 10,000 pairs of movie characters. Not bad. Then it involves 9,035 characters from 617 movies, and in total 304,713 utterances. Alright, perfect. So let's download it. To download it, you simply need to click on the zip file here, and this will start the download, which you should get in a matter of seconds. I just got it. So let's go to my download folder on my computer. Here we are, and here is the Cornell Movie Dialogues Corpus dataset. So let's double click on it to unzip it, and there we go, it contains several files. So now we have to make the difference between metadata and the real data. Metadata is like the data we will not use for the training. So it's things like the ratings or the movie it comes from, like some descriptional data. And we don't need that, of course, we just need basically the conversations between the characters. And that's what we'll get now, and that's what we'll directly put in our deep NLP folder because we just want what's necessary for us. But feel free to have a look at the other files, like this one. You can see an interesting paper that will give you some relevant information. Then you have some metadata here about the movie characters, then some other metadata here about the movie titles, then some README script that will give you some more descriptions. But the things we'll need for our chatbot is actually just two files. These are the movie conversations.txt and the movie lines here. The rest we actually don't care because we actually won't use it for the training. However, let's have a look at these two files, movie conversations.txt and movie lines.txt. Let's start with movie lines. So movie lines, as you can see, contains some extracts of scripts taken from movies. So for example, I'm going to open it with, let's see, Sublime Text, and let's have a look. So as you can see, it contains several columns separated by these strings here, plus, 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 dollar, plus, plus, plus. So that's the first column, second column, third column, fourth column, and fifth column. The first column is just an ID. It is the ID of the line said by some character in some specific movie. Then the second column, speaking of the character, is actually the character itself. U means user here. So for example, if we take these first two lines here, that's a conversation between user 0 and user 2. Then the third column is the movie. So it is indexed by M and a number. So that's movie 0 here. Then the fourth column is the name of the actor, the character, and this is actually some metadata which we won't use to train our chatbot. And finally, the last column is the line. So what does this line mean? Well, it means that Bianca, who is indexed by user 0, in movie 0 says they do not. And then if we take the second line, that's taken from the same movie, movie 0, but this time it's user 2, named Cameron, that says they do too. And actually, the script goes this way. Cameron starts to say they do too, that's the input, and Bianca replies they do not. Okay, so that's an extract from a movie movie 0 between two users, U0 and U2, Bianca and Cameron. And that's one conversation. And then we have other conversations with most of the time one input and one output, but not all the time. As you can see, for example, here we have a huge conversation starting from here, 860 to 862. So we have a long conversation here between Bianca and Cameron. Bianca, Cameron, Bianca, Cameron, Bianca, Cameron. Well, that's actually from the same movie with the same users, obviously, but a different extract from the movie. I don't know if you recognize the movie. I don't, but this is a conversation on which our chatbot will be trained. All right, so it's important for you to understand well the structure of the dataset. This is movielines.txt, which basically contains several conversations between some characters taken from different movies. All right, so we're going to close this now, and we're going to open the other interesting dataset, which is movieconversation.txt. So I'm going to open it with Sublime Text as well. And there we go. So as you can see, it's almost the same, except that this time we don't have the lines, we have the conversations. Each row of this dataset corresponds to one single conversation. So as you can see, in each conversation we have several lines, and these lines in one same conversation are all the lines composing the conversation. And this is important because the previous dataset didn't somehow separate the conversation, so we need this dataset to make sure we distinguish the different conversations on which our chatbot will be trained. All right, so let's close this, and therefore that's all we need. So what we're going to do now is take these two txt files, these two datasets. I'm going to copy them. I just copied them, Command-C or Control-C on Windows, and I'm going to go to my desktop where I created the deep NLP A to Z folder. So let's go inside and let's just paste the dataset composed of movieconversation.txt and movielines.txt. And congratulations, you have all you need to implement the chatbot. Just one chatbot.py file, which will contain the whole implementation of the chatbot, including how we build it, how we train it, and how we test it, and these two files which compose the dataset. That's it. So if you're ready, let's start from the next tutorial. And actually, in the next tutorial, we will start part 1, data preprocessing. This is not the funniest part, but let's try to make it with enthusiasm so that we can get to part 2 without even noticing. All right, so I'll see you in the next tutorial, and until then, enjoy Deep NLP.